stay with me, and I really need you to, so make sure you sit up in your chair and focused on this area, because after this, we're going to kick in gear again, but right now, you got to take this in. It'll be so valuable, not just for this weekend, but for your life. All human beings have the same 6 needs, so why do we behave differently? Because the only thing different in people is 2 things. We all have the same 6 needs, but we don't value them equally. Some people, certainty is the number one thing they value. And if they're certainty driven and you try to change anything, they freak out. They get fearful, or they get angry, or they get pissed off, because what matters most to them is keeping things the same way where they feel like they're in control. Raise your hand if you follow. That's an example. Some people, they value love much more than certainty. Some people value certainty more than love. So even though they love you, if they don't feel certain, they won't open completely. Right, just as one example. So the difference in people, we all have the same 6 needs. The difference is which of the top 2 you value most out of these 6. Because these top 2 determine your direction in life. And direction, if you keep moving in direction, it leads you to an ultimate destination or destiny. So we want to understand what your top 2 needs are. And same thing with other people. This weekend, when somebody stands up, often I'll say, what's driving them right now? And I want you to see, within a very short time, 8,000 people from 44 countries will all be saying the same thing. Because it'll be that obvious to you. You'll be a practical psychologist by the time we're done here. So now, if we know what these needs are, and the person values them differently, we also have to find out 2 people could have the same need, but they have a different belief about what it takes to be loved. Or a different need about what it takes to be certain. Some people to be certain need $10 billion. Some people to be certain just need to pray to God. Some people to be certain need to feel like they have 3 perfect children and they're there every day. Some people that feel certain because I've always figured it out. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'll figure it out, because I always have. You can get certainty from your past. You get certainty from God. You get certainty by working out intensely. You get certainty by eating food. Too much food especially will put comfort in your body. If you overeat, all the blood goes in your stomach. You start breathing again. So we all need certainty. The only question is it number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 on your list? And the second question is, what does your brain say has to happen to be certain? Some people have certainty that's impossible to meet. The young lady over here who was sitting in the chair before we intervened had a blueprint that's never going to be met. It literally would make her unhappy regularly. So we got to know what needs you're after and what your blueprint. How many get a feeling at least when I'm explaining it right now? It makes some sense to you. Say, awesome. So the first need is certainty. How can we meet our need for certainty? We can do it in ways that are positive, neutral, or negative. I can get certainty in a heartbeat if all I want to do is get really pissed off and freaked out about something. When you get angry, do you get certain, yes or no? You better believe it. So some people get angry all the time because it's their way to get certainty in a life that's uncertain. It has all kinds of negative side effects, but it works in the moment. So listen to me now. Most people meet their needs in a way that works in the moment, but not long term. So they feel good for a short time, like a sugar high, and then they drop emotionally, and they got to do it again, whether it's food or smoking or drinking or whatever it is. So you can meet your needs in positive ways, neutral ways, or negative ways. So if I came along here and I said, what's your name, sir? Chase. Chase, I want to make a deal with you. How much do you weigh? 246. We're going to weigh you in 5 minutes. He says he weighs 246. If you're within that range, I'm fine. Here's my deal. I'm going to put $50 million US cash tonight into an escrow account for you. They're going to weigh you. If you lose 50 pounds tomorrow morning by 8:30 a.m., you will receive that 50 million, otherwise I get it back. Can you do it? Yes or no? No? Sure you can. Take off a leg, take an arm, we can get your ass there. There's no question, Chase. Is the goal obtainable? Yes or no? Is it achievable? Is it obtainable? Yes or no? But it's not sustainable, and that's how most people meet their needs. They use a drug or alcohol or food or cigarettes or something to get comfortable, to get certainty back. But the problem is it has side effects long term. Works in the short term, doesn't the long term. Raise your hand if you follow. Say aye. So you could get certainty by overeating or smoking or drinking. What happens when you smoke a cigarette? Take a deep breath in and you blow it out nice and long and slow, full exhale. When most of you are stressed, how many have noticed that you either stop breathing or you breathe really shallow? How many have noticed this in the past? So you smoke a cigarette, and in the moment, it meets your need for comfort and certainty. It's killing you, but it works short term. That's how most people live their life. You can get certainty by working out. If you go on a run really intensely, or you go lift weights and you push yourself and all that blood starts pulsing through you, do you feel certain, yes or no? And what's the downside? Zero. So there are ways to meet your needs that are empowering, neutral, or disempowering. The parts of our life we don't like are problems. Why would we keep a problem? We're all capable of solving it. Why would we keep a problem? The only reason you have a problem that's stuck around is because it meets some of your needs. Not all of them, or you wouldn't want to get rid of it. But enough of them that it makes it hard to give up. It's kind of like, who's ever been in a relationship way too long? Let me see a show of hands. And how many knew it was wrong while you were there? Let me see a show of hands. So why the F did you stay there? Because of the uncertainty. Because, well, I'm not thoroughly happy. I'm kind of unhappy, but I might be worse if I was totally alone. What if this is the best one I'm ever going to get and I screwed it up? But what happened was most of you had that feeling, talked yourself back down into the relationship multiple times until one day you hit a threshold where your brain went, it was painful in the past, it's painful in the present, it's going to be painful in the future, I'm out of here. Who's done this before? Say I. So there is a threshold that we can find, and if we find that threshold, we can break through it pretty damn easily. We can shift, we can get to where we really want to go. So what I want you to get is, of these 6 needs, we all find a way to meet them. The only difference again is which are your top 2 out of the 6. And I've told you certainty so far. And what are your beliefs or rules, or what's your blueprint on how to get that? Her blueprint was please everybody, which is impossible, so it won't work. Raise your hand if you follow. Okay? So let's take a look. What's the second human need? Well, first of all, you can get certainty in so many ways. You get certainty by praying to God. You can get certainty by doing a ritual the same way every time. You can get certainty by lowering your expectations, saying nothing ever works, nothing ever will, everybody screws things up. You'll lose your dream, but you'll gain your need. By the way, jot this down. People will give up their goals and dreams to meet their needs.